few as 50 years ago, interracial couples were prevented from marrying based on laws. Fortunately, by 1967, people realized that marriage should be about love, and these laws were found to be unconstitutional. Imagine not being able to marry your person of choice simply because of their gender or another superficial factor. Today I'm going to discuss a pressing social issue in our country. Many citizens do not have the right to marry simply based on their gender. This issue is of great importance to me, and I've done a great amount of personal research surrounding this topic. I hope that after listening to my speech, you'll be able to make nice and informed voting decisions and possibly even advocate for equality and fairness in your everyday life. I'm going to discuss this problem in the problem cause solution format. The problem, as I mentioned, people in a country of freedom are being denied basic rights. Causes of this problem are shown on this chart here. The main one seems to be homophobia, but others include fear and hatred. The solution for the problem is simple: federal legislator allowing same-sex couples to marry. As I mentioned earlier, the problem is that citizens are being denied basic rights and discriminated against. We have to understand that marriage is so much more than just a title. It comes with a bunch of responsibilities and rights that same-sex couples cannot get right now. One of these rights is hospital visitation. Imagine not being able to visit your partner of 20 plus years or make medical decisions regarding their health in a time of need simply because you were not legally allowed to be married to them. Another area in which people are discriminated against is financial and tax benefits. Same-sex couples currently cannot file for joint tax benefits or get other various tax breaks. Another area where they are affected is immigration. Currently, same-sex couples can't sponsor a partner for immigration into this country. Also, there's various other benefits ranging from veterans benefits to insurance coverage that same-sex couples are discriminated against and suffer on a daily basis by not being able to receive these. Some of you may be thinking, well, don't they have civil unions and domestic partnerships? Well, as you can see here, according to Lambda Legal, the federal government accords 1,138 benefits and responsibilities based on marital status, not on a civil union status. A few of these benefits include unpaid leave to care for an ill spouse, Social Security benefits, and the right not to testify against your loved one in court. Each of these rights shown here are being denied to couples every day simply because of their gender. So why is this happening? The causes for homophobia are really difficult to put a finger on. Some of them may be just fear or people being uncomfortable with the idea of homosexuality. It can stem back to how you were raised, or it can even be rooted in your religious beliefs. At this point, we just have to remember that personal faith is a great thing, but church and state need to be kept separate to be fair to everyone of all different religions. Now that we see the extent of the problem and its causes are clear, we can take a step at beginning to look at a possible solution. In my opinion, the only and the best possible solution is federal legislator allowing same-sex marriage. This country was based on freedom, and this law would be a step in the direction of equality. Many people may oppose such a law because it is against their personal faith. But any one's religion's views cannot be considered in law and policy making. And we have to remember that marriage is a right given by the state, not by the church. Also, individual churches and faiths under this would still be able to choose who they will allow to marry under their own roofs. Other people argue that allowing two people of the same sex to marry could destroy the tradition or the sanctity of marriage. Well, according to GLAD magazine, marriage has been very dynamic from the beginning. It was actually originally founded as a property contract between two people. And as I mentioned before, interracial couples in the past were prevented from marrying, and also physical and mentally handicapped people were also prevented from marrying at times throughout our history. Fortunately, we have amended our ways, and now they are free to marry who they want and love happily. I think the next step towards fairness and equality is allowing same-sex couples the same rights. One final argument people may offer in contradiction to this would be that they don't want same-sex couples to be able to have children. In response to this, I'd like to just read a short quote by Charlotte Patterson, an esteemed professor at UVA. On measures of psychosocial well-being, school functioning, and romantic relationships and behaviors, teens with same-sex parents are as well adjusted as their peers with opposite-sex parents. A more important predictor of teens' psychological and social adjustment is the quality of the relationship that they have with their parents. I think this quote really sums it up and shows that a child is not going to be misadjusted or have all these problems simply because their parents are the same sex. There is many families with same-sex parents that have thriving relationships and their children do better than those of the ones you see on shows like Mom at 15 or 16. So in conclusion, federal legislature allowing same-sex couples to marry is the only fair solution to allow these people the same rights that those who are married have. Thank you so much for listening. Is there any questions from the audience? Yes.
In your opinion, what should be done to, I guess, combat homophobia?
I think that knowledge is really the best answer to any kind of phobia, especially one with such social implications as this. I think, getting to know someone and, being as open and friendly as possible is the best solution. Fighting or scare tactics and aggressive behaviors like that really only do to push people farther away. So I think if everyone can open their hearts and listen with reason, then we can realize that there's common ground between all of us. Yes?
Why do you think it should be a federal legislative versus a state legislative law?
Well, the legislative part was really the important part. I did consider state legislative, but I just thought that a federal is a more concrete stand from our country, united that this is what needs to happen. I definitely understand that there is hesitation anytime you're going to take powers away from the states and put them to the federal level, and I understand that that can have its own implications. But this is basically the opposite of the Defense of Marriage Act, which was a federal legislative that they tried to pass. This is pretty much just the reverse side of it. I would be happy, any individual state that does allow same-sex couples to marry is great, and there are many states taking those initiatives. I just think to really get equality now, what we need is the federal level. Any other questions? Yes.
Okay, I for one support this. What can I do in my community to raise awareness and get other people, I guess, on the side?
Well, that is an excellent question, Carly. I think all of us can take small everyday steps in our own neighborhoods and communities to put an end to homophobia. Simple things like supporting groups like your local Gay Straight Alliance, or just sharing knowledge with people and living a life of love in your everyday life. If you see someone being discriminated against for any reason, whether it's, their sexuality or another cause, you can always just stick up for them. And there are many community groups and activism groups if you are looking to get more and more active. And I also recommend you attend your local gay events and gay parades, and go to a gay bar at least once because it's a good time. Anyone else? All right, thank you again, guys.